And hello, good people of the internet. It is I, Tommy Kelly, and this is Adventures in Woo Woo. And in this episode, I want to talk a bit about another ritual that I have kind of gone on, or working, or whatever it is the correct term for it, in which I'm trying to eradicate all kind of vestiges or remnants of my Catholic upbringing and Christian thought in general in my mind, as a kind of paradigm shift in that chaos magic kind of way. This started because of the lockdown and kind of seeing conspiracies that were coming up around it, kind of looking into all these conspiracies first as a bit of kind of entertainment, and maybe, you know, kind of going, oh, maybe there is something here, and then kind of realizing just how much that kind of conspiracy thing is based in a kind of Christian mindset of good versus bad, you know, devil's coming to get us, you know, God, judgment day, the apocalypse, all of these type of things. Now, not all conspiracies, obviously, but an awful lot of them, particularly the more doom porn ones, the ones that think the end times are constantly on the horizon, all seem to still come from a kind of very kind of Abrahamic Christian kind of mentality, if not necessarily the religion. So I mean, I'm not pointing at going, oh, it's the Christians, but I mean more that kind of Western kind of approach that we have, which is very much informed by this kind of religious outlook. You can even see it in different kind of even in our leaders, in our political leaders and stuff, have this kind of very much kind of Christian, sometimes overtly, sometimes not, kind of outlook on the world. And I've just found that very interesting, and pretending when I start looking at the kind of reality transurfing of it, like the pendulum idea of it, that's seeing the kind of the mainstream and the conspiracy and, you know, the mainstream media, the alternative media, whatever, all that thing, are all the same pendulum. They're all part of the same system. Although conspiracy would tend to think that it's, you know, thinks differently or trying to escape from that. You can kind of see it as being all part of the same kind of, or symptomatic of the same type of thinking. And so I was just getting that kind of thought going around in my head, and then kind of going, well, I wonder how much I still have and how much I see the world through a Christian lens. I certainly have an awful lot of Catholic guilt around success, around self-love, or, you know, appreciation, or in any kind of way feel that you're a good person. There's definitely kind of triggers in me and elements that just can't have any kind of notions of being okay with myself, because it's instantly that kind of, not only just the tall poppy syndrome, but that who am I to think that, you know, remember as a Catholic growing up here in Ireland, we would have been taught that pretty much God hates us and we are sinners, and that we deserve everything we get, and don't ever think for a moment that you're anything special, you're nothing but a piece of shit. Like, I mean, I'm slightly laughing at that, but that's predominantly what we were taught. You know, it was kind of, God loves you, he's going to punish you if you do anything wrong. He hates you anyway because you've sinned, or some sort of relation sinned, and, you know, you're only going to do bad things, and, you know, it's just terrible kind of brainwashing. I was talking to Spud about this a number of times in the podcast, just about the whole idea of, I wonder what if an alien came down onto this planet and looked at what we were doing. Would there be some things that are so kind of ingrained in us that we believe are true, that are absolutely not true about the world, about, you know, just how our philosophy or how we look at things? And I'm sure there has to be. Money is definitely one, even though we kind of have a sense that that's just a ridiculous type of system and it's not real and all that. But so coming from all that, and I know over the last while, in particular, certain circles of chaos magic, there's this kind of push, or this kind of feeling, or this kind of thing of going back into the kind of Catholicism and trying to, you know, incorporate all of this stuff back in. And it seems to me, well, I think that's fair and fine, you know, do as thou wilt, and all that. I've kind of got sucked into it for a while and all that, and it's going like, but without throwing babies out with bathwater, was my original kind of thought. I was going, well, like, let's see what's good for it. Now I'm kind of going, well, no, let's not see what's good. Let's get rid of it, because it hasn't worked too well. You know, it's just this whole idea of, oh, I can't wait to go back to normality in the way it was. And it was, let's never go back to the way it was. Let's go back to something better. And I think there's a same kind of a thing in magic where you can kind of revert to these old kind of folk things, and or, you know, to Christianity and kind of things, but label it differently as a folk thing. And I was watching a video that David Halpin put out about his review of a book called The Darkening Age, whatever that noise was. I'll link it in the show description, and it's the book which I've just got an audiobook, so I haven't read it yet. But it's just kind of a look at how the Christian world kind of forced itself on the pagan world, and how it was kind of, you know, the atrocities, and, you know, how it was basically demand it by, sentence of death that you believe these new things and all this. And I just kind of don't want to go into too much with Dave said, because you can watch that himself, but also because I haven't read the book and I don't know enough to do it. But it's just kind of, his kind of overriding feeling was that, yeah, well, we have this kind of sense of going back and taking the good things, but let's not forget that the tremendous amount of pain, suffering, evil, that this philosophy, this religion, this kind of thought, and the actions that came about from that have done to us as a people, and certainly have done to me. And then trying to go back and trying to pick best bits out of it. He goes, let's, not speaking for David, but the kind of impression I got was, let's maybe not do that. So what I did is I took all of my Catholic or religious Christian stuff, all my statues, all my beads, all my books, the Bibles, my St. Cyprian statues. I have one BVM, some rosary beads, a couple of different saints, whatever. And I put them all in a big box, I sealed it, and I'm putting it away. I never really warmed to St. Cyprian anyway. That was something that, as much as I tried, it just wasn't happening for me. And I know he's in the 47s as the saint, but he seems to be a very different character than the kind of standard St. Cyprian. And it's just, so I just want to see if I can totally eradicate as much as possible this kind of thought out of my life. Maybe at the end of it go back and, there might be some stuff I still want to keep. But I think it involves a complete evacuation, a complete exorcism. And so I'm going to try and think of more things around that I can do, or at least that will highlight to me the kind of brainwashing or, remnants of these type of ideas that I still have in my head. These kind of pendulums, these limiting ideas, these beliefs, these loops that are holding me back or not serving me anymore, or my programming. I want to try and get away from my programming. It's such a powerful programming, and I think that by kind of allowing it in even small little doses, even this is kind of nice or whatever, is allowing all of those loops, all of those pendulums and all that to play out, and not be so harsh with them, and not be so demanding to go away, and kind of believing them a bit more, because you have this kind of idea that, well, if that's right, then maybe the other thing's right. And when you've hard enough to get out of limiting beliefs without kind of sort of believing them at the same time, if that makes sense. So early days, and part of the pan working, the gut bothering, is going to be part of that, where I'm looking for something that's previous to that, or more physical, less judgmental, less intolerant, less nasty, less, a religion, or a religious belief that, is pro me, that likes me, that wants me to do well, that pronoia thing. It's an interesting thing that happened with the Pan statue. The day the Pan statue arrived, it also arrived with the book Pronoia, which is the kind of like the positive Bible. And so what I decided in the end was that is Pan's workbook, or his guidebook, or his Bible, or his how-to book, and that rather than just necessarily going with the kind of classical Pan kind of thing of, the nature spirit, while keeping some of that, whatever, have him as a representation of all that's good in the world, and as of a God who doesn't want to make me feel shameful, who wants me to rejoice in the pleasures of life, who wants to rejoice in myself, who wants to enjoy myself, who wants to enjoy life as I sweat in the sweltering heat. So that's kind of it. Not fully formed, obviously, and just kind of rambling out my thoughts to make them a bit more coherent for myself more than anything. But that's the plan. Going to have to do an exorcism of some point, which I suppose an exorcism, even in that, is a kind of a Christian kind of outlook on it. But anyway, I'll come up with something else. So good people of the internet, what kind of background stuff do you think that you may need an exorcism from? Some sort of religious belief, family belief, societal belief, country belief? What are the things that you feel that are ingrained in you that you find that you might have to at some point just say no to the entirety of, just to get them out of your way? Good people of the internet, may your journey ahead be wonderful. May the roads rise with you, and may your best days be ahead. Be well.